starting in 4 minutes. All right. An active day throughout the state of South Carolina, and it's going to continue as we go throughout tonight as we have rainfall still going on throughout the upstate, throughout portions of the PD areas and the Midlands right now. Luckily for the coastal areas in the low country, the Grand Strand areas, looks like that the rainfall is kind of seeding in those areas a little bit, but it will be back. It will be back. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to talk about how multi-day totals could reach several inches of rainfall as we continue throughout the next couple of days, and it definitely will help out those drought conditions, but that flooding risk is going to be there. And then also highs are going to continue to be up into the upper 80s, near normal to slightly above/below. Kind of just depends on the day and the area. But all of that we're going to go in and talk about. If you have not hit the like button yet, go and do so. Also hit the subscribe button, as we have right now, around a good 733 subscribers, trying to get to 800. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Monday evening going into your future. So like I said, we have some rainfall going on throughout the upstate. We have some rainfall going on throughout the PD areas as well. But if we go in and scroll our way out, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., bunch of stuff going on. We have some rainfall over here inside of North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama. We do have a tornado warning. It's actually observed. There's a tornado on the ground right now heading towards Abbeville, Alabama. So if you know anybody in that area, let them know. And then there's also a flash flood emergency over here in Hattiesburg and Purvis inside of Mississippi. If you know anybody in those areas, hopefully they're as high, like above ground, as they possibly could be, because flash flood emergencies is probably one of the most dangerous alerts you can get. Right there on par with tornado emergency or so. Now, if we go and take a look at what's going on throughout the entire western and central part of the U.S. now, we have some rainfall in Texas, a severe thunderstorm warning down there in New Mexico with some rainfall in the Four Corners area, and then also some more rainfall over here inside of the west, but I'm not seeing anything in terms of snowfall. Now for our cloud cover, we have cloud cover statewide. I mean, upstate to coast, everybody's receiving some type of cloud cover right now, and if we go in and take a look at our cloud cover for the future, it honestly just looks like that we're going to continue to see that cloud cover as we move into tonight, going into tomorrow afternoon. This goes into tomorrow evening. And then as we get into Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, we have some breaking going on in the clouds, but it's definitely not the worst in terms of widespreadtivity of these cloud covers. Current temperatures right now, we're talking about 70 Somerville, 78 Hilton Head Island, as well as Beaufort, 77 from Charleston all the way up to Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach, 75 in Sumter, and 75 in Columbia, 74 in Newberry, 73 Lawrence, 73 Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, York, and Rock Hill. Air quality for today looks good. Going into tonight, we're looking at good air quality. We shouldn't have to worry about anything there. And then for our low temperatures for tonight, we have around 67 from Greenville to Greenwood, Anderson, 66 in Spartanburg, as well as 68 in Columbia, 69 Orangeburg, and 69 in Sumter, 68 in Kingstree, and even 75 in Charleston, 76 Hilton Head Island, and 72 in Georgetown, 73 in Myrtle Beach. Then for our high temperatures for today, we're talking about 80 in Greenville, 81 Spartanburg, 83 Newberry, and 87 in Columbia, 86 Camden, and 86 in Sumter, 88 Orangeburg, 89 in Moncks Corner, and 85 in Charleston, 88 inside of Walterboro, and 85 in Myrtle Beach. Rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours, you can definitely see a good amount of rainfall going on, rather it be from the upstate or even towards the PD and Grand Strand areas. You see around a half an inch to an inch possible for Greenville going down through Greenwood, and then a quarter of an inch to a half an inch into Spartanburg, into Winsboro, into Columbia, and even Dillon. 1/10 of an inch to a quarter of an inch for Orangeburg, Walterboro, and then maybe even a 1/100 of an inch to a 1/10 of an inch from Moncks Corner to Charleston, all the way up to Myrtle Beach and Georgetown. So, good amount of rainfall, beneficial rainfall is going to happen for us as we move throughout the next 24 hours. But what about for the next 3 days? Well, obviously, rainfall for the next 3 days, it doesn't really look like too much more. Now, if we're counting obviously past days, a lot of us have already seen probably up to an inch of rainfall already. Where I am over here inside the Tri-County area, we haven't really received as much rain as what maybe the upstate has, obviously. Down here in the low country, we have not received as much rain as the upstate has. Upstate has definitely got the brute force of it. And this right here, this is the map of how much total rainfall we can see over the next 3 days, so the next 72 hours. As we move into, that is Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. So what we can see here is the majority of that rainfall up there in the upstate, maybe another inch, 2, or some areas maybe even 3. But look down there near the low country. Look down near Charleston, 1/100 of an inch to a 1/10 of an inch over the next 3 days. So not a whole lot to go around down there. Now in terms of thunderstorm activity seems to be still present with us. I mean, we still definitely are seeing thunderstorms, but along the board, you can see a little dark green over there, just a little tiny dark green spot over there along that border of South Carolina and Georgia. If when they update it, which they should have just now, and they did, and so they kind of pushed it back a little bit. Now the day one risk kind of has that marginal risk down towards the south and west, so no longer there anymore. So we're looking at just regular thunderstorm activity, nothing severe wise. Then as we go into tomorrow, thunderstorm activity is again possible, but we're not expecting anything severe. And then Wednesday, same thing, nothing severe. Fire weather is not expected at this time, but excessive rainfall, scattered flash flooding, that's a 15% risk of flash flooding goes on from the upstate down into the western Midlands. And then also isolated flash flooding is also a possibility in the green that goes from Camden to Florence to Orangeburg. And then as we go into day 2, this goes into tomorrow. Tomorrow we're looking at the entire upstate, all of the Midlands, good amount of the northern low country and the PD areas included in there. Day 3, we're not looking at anything for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We also look okay. We do have a little risk up here on Friday for some isolated flash flooding up here from Walhalla, Seneca, Westminster, and Fairplay, South Carolina. Now for the crazy score. If you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how active our conditions are. And right now we're inside of the moderate category, noticeable weather conditions such as moderate rain, wind, minor storms. And that's pretty much exactly what's going on. Minor storms, moderate rainfall, maybe even heavy at times. And this pretty much exactly matches it. Now that we're going into tonight, that flash flood risk should hopefully try to die down a little bit. Now let's go on and take a look at the models. Make sure you pay attention to the time. That time is at the bottom part of your screen, because if you do not pay attention there, you may get lost, and then you will have no idea of what we're talking about. So we're going to start off here with the short term first. And as we start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., we go in and push this forward, and we have some rainfall moving in from west to east as we go into tonight. Then as we move into tomorrow morning, again, like I said, hopefully that flash flooding threat will go down as we go into tomorrow. Here's around 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can see a huge decrease from how much rainfall we're receiving now. You see the Midlands getting some thunderstorm activity, the low country getting some as well. And then as we move to around 12 p.m., we also have some more thunderstorm activity going on up there in the PD areas. Now, as we go to around 3 p.m., 4 to 5 p.m., look at how much shower and thunderstorm activity we have here now as around 2 o'clock, at around 5 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. Now we're looking at more shower activity, more thunderstorm activity. That's kind of more on a scattered to maybe even widely scattered basis here. And that goes throughout the state, throughout the afternoon, throughout the evening. And then watch as we get into Wednesday. Wednesday comes along, and it's a lot drier. I mean, this goes into the afternoon now, at around 2 o'clock p.m. And look how dry it is now compared to what we normally would be seeing during this time frame. A lot better. Now, what's the official forecast from the WPC saying? So the WPC being the Weather Prediction Center. And just as we go throughout we'll do the next 48 hours or so. Well, we'll do 24 hours first. 24 hours, they have a good amount, mainly in the upstate, Midlands. But look, it has a couple of purples, which means a couple of 1 inchers over there inside the low country, inside the PD areas a little bit. So somebody in these areas may get a little bit more rainfall than maybe what's forecasted. And then as we move throughout the next 48 hours, though, that's where you start to see that difference start to form between the upstate and especially just areas like Charleston and Myrtle Beach, to where they are really not getting as much rainfall as like everybody else. Everybody else is getting around, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, all the way up to 1.5 inches, 2 inches or so. While the coastal area getting only around a 1/10 of an inch or so. And then in terms of how much rainfall the actual HRRR is saying, that this model right here, majority in the upstate, has even close to around 3 inches up there in the upstate, to maybe even 1/2 inch over inside of the Midlands. And again, keeping it mainly dry down here from Charleston through Georgetown through Myrtle Beach area. Now, what's going on in terms of our long-term future? So past all of this right here, what are we going to have afterwards? Well, we go through Wednesday, we go through Thursday and Friday, and honestly, it doesn't really look too bad until we get into maybe later on Friday. We have some more rainfall, heavy rainfall activity Friday going into Saturday. Saturday this weekend, not looking too good at all, but beneficial rainfall, so we'll take it. We will take this all day, every day, especially right now. As we move into Saturday, Sunday, though, looks pretty good. Sunday looks really good, so if you have any outside work you need to get done, you could get it done on Sunday. Maybe late Saturday, early, pretty much almost all day Sunday looks good. Monday looks good of next week. Tuesday, honestly, next week looks really good. So, at least the beginning of the week does, at least. Once we move later into the week next week, I start to see some more rain chances starting to pop up. And then as we go into the week after, kind of the same thing. Spotty showers here and there. Maybe a spotty storm here and there. So our active conditions are, going to end eventually, but for now, let's just hope for some good rainfall, for some great rainfall now before that dry period comes back. Now, how much rainfall is the GEFS saying? The European, what are they saying right now in terms of exact totals? Well, right now they are looking at around a good 2.5, maybe even up to 3-4 inches or so. This is the GEFS right here, around 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. And then if we go on and take a look at the European, let's go to the 12Z real quick, has us around a good 3.5, maybe even all the way up to around 5 to 6 inches. But watch what area it has highlighted the most. The European kind of has this lower area, the area that didn't really get the majority of the rainfall this weekend, has it down here in the low country area. So we could see a bit of a shift, and it looks like the majority of that rainfall comes maybe sometime later next week or so, when a good amount of that rainfall could try to move through. So we'll keep an eye on that. We will keep an eye on that for sure. Now, let's go on and talk about our temperatures, because rainfall, important, but temperatures are also pretty important as well. As we go on and start this off on tomorrow, obviously we're looking at warmer temperatures above normal temperatures. Then as we go all the way into around Tuesday, apologies if you hear fireworks, by the way. They are been launching them for like at least, like when I started recording too at 9 o'clock, which is just bad timing. But we start off here at around on Tuesday, continuing through into Wednesday. Warmer air is here. Warmer air continues to stay. We have cooler temperatures around a degree, or maybe even 5 degrees below average. So, not too far from just being just near normal. Maybe just slightly below average, or maybe even slightly above average as well. And then as we go into Wednesday, even into Wednesday and Thursday, still around 5 to 10 degrees above average or so. But then watch as we get into the next weekend, or this weekend, I should say, we're looking at around 10 to 20 degrees below average. 10 to 20 degrees below average as we go into Saturday. So that could potentially, shake up some stuff right there. Maybe bringing us down to the 50s. Possibly. We'll see what happens there. But overall, next weekend in general, cold blast moves through and we start getting cooler temperatures. But that warmer air will be trying to come back as we go later into next week. And then as we move into Tuesday and Wednesday, we have some more warmer air coming through as we go into like June the 9th, June the 10th or so. And so that's pretty much all I have to say here in terms of our activity. So what's going on in terms of our actual temperatures here? Actual temperatures right now, it's looking like we're going to continue to be up into the 80s and maybe close to the 90s or so for the majority of this week. But watch as we get into Saturday. We're going to start seeing some high temperatures on Saturday only being in the 50s, or those high temperatures are going to happen the night before. So temperatures are going to drop as the day progresses, and then we're going to start seeing low temperatures. Yes, that is a low 50 that you see right there, a low 50 on the last day of May. The last day of May, Sunday, May the 31st, 5 o'clock in the morning. You're seeing around 52 up there inside of the upstate. And then as we go on all the way through into Sunday, going into Monday, and then also into Tuesday, you start to see those temperatures start to come right back up. So we're going back into the 70s, back up into the 80s or so. So like that cooler air won't really last too long, but it will be there to make a little bit of a difference for us as we go into this weekend, and then back into the 90s, and we just kind of just stay there. Kind of just stay there as we go more and more into June. And is that even a 99, close to an 100 degree there later? Again, that's way too far out, but the deterministics are saying that it could be trying to come through soon, could be trying to come by soon. And even if we go on and take a look at our future, even the GEFS kind of has us up into the upper 80s, averaging around in some spots near 90 degrees. I don't see a direct 90, I see a bunch of 89s, but I mean, a middle temperature of 90, anything can happen past then, so 100 degrees may not be too far off from now. And that's pretty much all I have to say in terms of our model. So, I believe we did not have an earthquake today. Did we? No, we did not. Obviously, no drought update. So, let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with Maya Lula, who was here first. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed their day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Got to around 83 degrees here in Moncks Corner. Then my Nana says, hello, Jay. Hello to you. Mr. Chris says, currently it's around 77. And then my Nana says, a nice, quiet day today. Well, first off, Mr. Chris, thank you so much for that weather report for where you are. Currently at my house, it is around 77, so the same as you. And the high temperature for today was 86. And then also to my Nana as well, thank you for your weather update as well. Maya Lewis says, today we did have a small shower that didn't last long. I think we did have some rainfall today. It was around 0.03, so not a lot, but a good little amount, I guess. Mr. Chris said it poured here pretty much all day. Well, you got a lot more than obviously me and then my Aunt Lula that got pretty much. Mr. Michael says, good evening all. Hopefully everyone enjoyed a relaxing Memorial weekend. Glad to see you here tonight. Same to you. And then Maya Lewis says, today's high was 84, currently it's 77. Well, thank you so much for that weather report for where you are. Dad says, good evening, Joseph and the 360 Weather family. Good evening to you. And Maya Lewis says, I did get the opportunity to grill out the rain. Didn't bother me. I do have a carport. Some grilled food does sound good. Just going to be honest, some grilled food does sound good right now. My Nana says, I only went in outside early this morning. It was nice. I walked in the driveway without my cane. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Dad says it was a gorgeous day here in San Antonio. We didn't get any rain, but we are grateful nonetheless. Well, absolutely. No rainfall. Obviously that's a bit of a bummer. But, just the amount of rainfall that y'all have received over the past couple of weeks, that has definitely helped y'all's drought out a lot. So the drought's not as bad as it once was. Couldn't y'all still, want some rainfall, need some rainfall? Yeah, absolutely. I think right now you are, I'm trying to find your county. You're still inside that D1/D2 area. So yeah, you guys definitely still need the rainfall, but it's a lot better than what it was. And then Maya Lewis says, after the small shower, the sun came out beautifully. Well, that's all that I can see here. So, let me check this out. I don't see anything here. If you have not the like button yet, go on and do so. We have 15 people tuned in, and only 6 likes. So go on and hit the like button if you have not already. Top fans of the night for tonight. Ooh, what is the question I'm going to ask for tonight? Let's see. I'm going to ask a question. Ooh, okay, I know what I'm going to ask. What was the highest high temperature on the map for tomorrow? And there's actually 2 correct answers to this one. What was the highest high temperature on the map for tomorrow? What was the highest high temperature? And I'm gonna just give you a hint. I'm just gonna give you a hint. Well, okay, I did see. Okay, Dad did get it correct. It was 89. But what I meant to ask was the location. But that we'll still give you that. We'll give you that for tonight. But we can have a second one. We can have a second one. Where was it at though? Where was it at? It was 89. 89 was the high temperature, the highest temperature that we had. But where was it? Where was it at in South Carolina? So let's go on real quick while they're going on and answering that and answer the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 areas? What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we're going to give them their forecast for them. Starting off with San Antonio first, you have low temperatures tonight at 71. High temperature for tomorrow at 88. Low temperatures tomorrow night at 71 as well. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night, heavy rain is expected. Heavy rain is expected tomorrow night, so make sure that you're aware there. And then in terms of your severe weather, you do have a risk of severe weather for tomorrow, mainly tomorrow night. Isolated severe storms, marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow. So make sure that you're aware and you know what to do just in case, you get that severe storm moving through. And then also tomorrow and on Wednesday, scattered flash flooding is on the table for you. So make sure you're aware and you're aware of all of this, any sort of alerts that you may get tomorrow, as it may be a good amount. What are your hazards though? It looks like not only a 2% chance of tornadoes, but a 5% chance of damaging winds. No chance of hail, though. So tornadoes and damaging winds are your threats for tomorrow. So now if we go on and take a look at your future, it does look like it's around, for your future, it does look like temperatures are going to continue to stay in the 80s, but watch as you get into Friday. It's around 90 on Friday. Then once you get into Saturday, going on into Sunday, it's going to continue to kind of drop back down to the 80s once again. So kind of jump up to the 90s, but then kind of go back down to the 80s next weekend. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 69, high temperature for tomorrow at 85, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 69. There's a chance of showers for tonight, and tomorrow showers are likely. Not only tomorrow, but also tomorrow night. If we go on and take a look at your severe weather, you have none, but excessive rainfall-wise, isolated flash flooding is possible for you not only tonight, but tomorrow and on Wednesday. Tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. You have that risk of some isolated flash flooding for you. And then for your future, temperatures are going to continue to be up into the 80s, and then you may drop back down to the 70s once you get into next weekend, obviously. We were talking about that with South Carolina, as well as we know we're going to cool down as we go into next week. And then if we go on and talk about your precipitation, you're just going to be active for pretty much the rest of the week going into next week. So before we go on and talk about Philadelphia, let's see if anybody got the correct answer. So obviously we know Thad got one of them. That was, what was the temperature? The other question was, where? I see Columbia, Somerville, and then Moncks Corner. One of those answers are correct. Okay, yeah, they are really loud out there with those fireworks. Again, I do apologize if you do hear that. But one of those answers is correct. One of those answers are correct. Let's go on and see which one it is. It is Moncks Corner. But that is one answer. You still can answer it if you want to, because there's another location. So if you have not answered yet, and you still want to win for tonight, you definitely still can, because there's another area. There is another area that's tied on the map with Moncks Corner. So we'll see. We'll see if anybody answers it. We'll see. For Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 61, high temperature for tomorrow at 81, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 64. Patchy fog is expected not only tonight, but also tomorrow morning as well. So make sure that you have those low beams turned on. No high beams, please. No high beams. Only low beams as well. And then tomorrow night, There is a chance of showers, though, so no precipitation tonight or tomorrow, but there is a chance of showers tomorrow night. No severe weather for you, no excessive rainfall for you, but for your future, temperature-wise, you're going to continue to kind of drop it down to the 70s, but then precipitation actually can kind of like dies off. You get into Tuesday night, Wednesday night, you have that threat, but then once you get past through, around like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it really does dry off a lot, like a lot. I don't see any other answers. It's near Moncks Corner. I mean, that's where the other area is. It is near Moncks Corner if anybody else does want to answer that. But Duncan, Oklahoma being the final location, you have low temperatures tonight at 63, high temperature for tomorrow at 83, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 63. No precipitation tonight or tomorrow. Well, tonight, but tomorrow you do have a chance of thunderstorms, and then tomorrow night showers are likely. Now, in terms of your future, in terms of severe weather, for you, I believe you have no risk of severe weather. No risk of severe weather for you. Excessive rainfall, though, you do have a risk of that. Not tonight, but tomorrow. Isolated flash flooding is possible for you tomorrow, Wednesday, and those 2 days. So Tuesday and Wednesday are your 2 days. For your future, in terms of temperatures, you're going to continue to kind of go up into the 80s a little bit. And then you're going to kind of just stay there. You're kind of just going to marinate in the 80s, 83 tomorrow, 79 on Wednesday, 81 on Thursday, 84 on Friday. So you're going to continue to kind of just stay in those 80s. Rainfall-wise, you're also going to continue to stay up in terms of those precipitation chances as you go more into tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, you have a chance of rainfall every single day this week. And then that is about all. Goose Creek, that's a bit too close. And Mount Pleasant, that also is a bit too close. You have to go maybe a bit more towards the north and east a little bit. Maybe just a bit towards the north and east a little bit. But what's going on right now throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Well, for right now, it does look like that showers and storms are expected from Texas to the northeast through Tuesday. Heavy rainfall will create mainly localized areas of flash flooding across the central Gulf Coast into the Appalachians. Elevated to critical fire weather conditions due to gusty winds and low humidity are expected through Tuesday across Oregon and Nevada. Showers and thunderstorms will develop over the northwest. Charleston and Beaufort, still too close. Now, we do have some fire weather going on up there in Montana. We have some heat advisories going on in Montana, so it's hot up there. Fire weather continues in Nevada, California, northern areas, and then also southeastern Oregon. And then some flooding concerns over there inside of, obviously, the southeast. We know that, though. Do I have any pictures for tonight? Yes, 3 pictures tonight. This one was from Mr. Chris, who sent in the first one. Says thunderstorm moving into Moncks Corner at 4:10 p.m. So here it is right here. And thank you so much for this picture right here. And I can definitely see the motion from it, or can't really see motion. But, I mean, you can see the dark clouds kind of like depicting the thunderstorm that he's showing in as they're rolling in. Now, the next one said thunderstorm moving into Moncks Corner at 4:10. I don't know if this is the same picture or not. It has the same caption, though. But if it is not the same picture, well, here it is again. And then he sent in one more picture, another angle of the same storm. That was, again, around the same time. So all these 3 around the same. And I can definitely see some clearing on the eastern side when then you have the actual storm going on to the west or so. And so that's all. And yes, that is correct. Georgetown was the other area. It was Moncks Corner and Georgetown. I knew that it would be such a great question because my Aunt Lula in Georgetown and then Mr. Chris in Moncks Corner. And those 2 areas were the answer for tonight. So, honestly, I thought that it was a very good question for tonight. But Thad got the actual temperature correct. Mr. Chris got the actual day correct. So, we'll let y'all both share it for tonight. That's all I have to say there. To any sort of honorable mention, seemed like my Nana was up there, and then also my Aunt Lula were up there as well. So congratulations to the two of y'all for being honorable mentions. That is all that I really have to say. For the most part, I do have a couple of announcements real quick. I have a couple of announcements. Number one, I know I made a poll a while back, and I was saying that I would go on and keep the forecast at 9 o'clock p.m. But, every time I tell somebody, I like, oh, I go live at 9 o'clock p.m., they're like, ooh, that's a bit too late. So I've decided that I may try to. I've not come up to a final decision quite yet. But I may push the 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern forecast update up to 8 p.m. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But I may push it up, and especially since this is the last week of school that I have, I have that flexibility now. So we'll see what happens. 8 o'clock p.m. may or may not be the new time. We'll see. 9 o'clock seems very late for a lot of people. Number one. Number two, later this week, I probably won't be here. So Friday evening going around Sunday, we'll probably be here for Sunday evening, but Friday evening going into Sunday morning, I will most likely not be here during that time frame. So that's another thing there. And I think that's it for the announcements. I think that's all that I have to say here. So we'll see. Tomorrow, it's still going to be 9 o'clock p.m. as of now, but if we do try 8 o'clock p.m., I'll let you know several days in advance before we do it, so you know. But for right now, 9 o'clock, it's still staying that. But I'll be back tomorrow morning for your Tuesday morning forecast update. Make sure that you're there also tomorrow evening for your Tuesday evening forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Memorial Day, and make sure you hit those two buttons before you leave. That being the subscribe button, the like button, and then obviously the share button.